It's Challenge Day.
Welcome back, challengers. It's your man's Darwin Darko, and I'm back with some more dope beats for you to step to. Shout out to all the people's tapping in. Community is growing. We got comments, recommendations coming in, keeping me busy, keeping your boy busy. Keep it coming. Make sure you like and subscribe. Um, that's the currency. That's the currency, bro. I don't make these rules, so you got to hit that subscribe, share it with a friend. I mean, I don't even care. Y'all don't even watch all these joints. I just need this. Let's get the subs up. You know, what I mean, let's get the project going, right? Let's grow this thing. We have 5 projects that we're going to be reviewing here. Reason with Moving Towards Love. This is the pink version of his series here. Rosalia with Lux. This was a recommendation from a friend. Shout out to him, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Kehlani dropped her self-titled album. Kehlani, there's like 5 projects in, and she's just now getting to her self-titled joint. So it's a dope project. It made the list, so it's worth our time. Isaiah Rashad dropped "It's Been Awful." Fally Ipupa has an Afro beats world vibey kind of project. It's called XX, and that'll be running up the rear there. So not much in that. Well, okay. So I have one honorable mention. So I'm gonna definitely, let me get into the one honorable mention I have is about Celine Dion, right? I don't know if y'all was hip to her medical condition, but she has this like degenerative, I don't know if it's a disease or just or something that's passing. I'm not sure, but it's called stiff person syndrome (SPS), which is kind of like, bro, I ain't workshop that name. Is pretty specific, and it's a neurodegenerative sort of thing where it causes the muscles to become more and more stiff to could almost like mimic paralysis, but it's just the stiffness of the muscles, and like the vocal cords and all that stuff. So she, singing would be tough for her. But um, happy to report, that Celine Dion is making her way back to the stage.
I want to let you know that I'm doing great, managing my health, feeling good. I'm singing again, even doing a little bit of dancing, obviously, I love it so much.
So this was since 2022. And she's, going through therapy, like physical therapy, going through a lot of medication and a lot of like just the overall rehab and everything for her body, even to be able to stand on the stage and perform and walk back and forth and all that stuff. She wasn't capable of doing that, and like she's gonna be coming back on stage. I have an article here from CNN. Celine Dion announces her return to the stage. Previously sidelined from performing due to a rare neurological disorder, has announced a series of concerts that will bring her back to the stage, making good on rampant speculation. Dion is set to perform 10 concerts in Paris, 10 shows. According to an announcement shared Monday on social media, and maybe I'll just put it in here if I could find it. The shows will take place in September and October this year. I'm getting the best birthday gift of my life, she said in a video posted to her verified Instagram account. And so it's her. She's saying from the horse's mouth, right? She's ready to go. Well, probably not now, but maybe she'll be ready in time for the fall. These fall shows, 10 shows is a good chunk. I mean, that's a lot amount of shows to for a comeback. So hopefully she's completely like healed and like already ready to go and not really pushing herself beyond her limits. It's sort of like maybe she only needed like 6 months and give herself an extra 4 month cushion. I hope it's something like that, where she's be fully good to go and we could see her. She's a legend. She is a legend, straight up. The overjoyed singer, who turned 58 on Monday, added that she is feeling good and strong, even doing a little dancing. All right, slow down, Celine. Okay, well, if you say so. I'm feeling excited, obviously a little nervous, but most of all, I'm grateful to all of you. She said, I love you all, and I'll see you soon. Um, it's good to get news like this particularly because like I feel like it's like every other one of these honorable mentions, or even if not on here, but you see it in your timeline. You know, there's another celebrity that's dying, that's dead. You know, that's in the hospital, or that just we just hearing the the family making some announcement, and that's not just celebrities. These are like our music legends. These are like some of the the elders that we still rock with, that are still good, and that was like great representation of what celebrity and stardom is, and almost like it's almost like, I mean, we have this very, yes, it's all parasocial, yes, granted, you know, um, but these people were part of some pivotal points and memories in our lives that we probably go back and remember where we were when this happened. We were going through this other thing in this life, and this person's music spoke to me, or this person's or this movie, opened me to a world or universe I never knew anything about, and now I'm interested in learning about what life is like in Mumbai, right, or something like that, or in Haiti, or wherever. Or it just helps shape us who we are today. This is all the information and the education, culturally, academically, that that shape us to who we are today, experientially, and even vicariously through these parasocial relationships. So I'm not, you know, gonna put too much sauce on it, but I'll say, she's important. Celine Dion is important. It's great to be sharing some news about somebody that's thriving, that's doing better than they were last time we heard from them. And I'm looking forward to seeing. Um, Now I won't be going to France for those shows, but it's gonna be on social media. It's gonna be on the socials. So check out her official um, Instagram. I think it was Instagram. They said account. Apparently, I just found out. I was today years old, and I found out that Instagram is old people's TikTok. So that's why I'm on Instagram. All right, now we're talking Carson's own Reason, hip hop artist who just dropped "Moving Towards Love," Pink. So this is the part of this color series that he's got going on. But this joint dropped on the 24th of April, just a couple weeks ago. This is the second chapter in this four-part color series, picking up right where Everything in My Soul, which was the blue joint, where that left off earlier this year. The rollout's been intentional. He brought "Who the Fuck You Blaming" onto, there was a on the radar, I think on the radar radio that he was they performing at. He had a part of the rollout was he had a, I think a like a live performance over at this coffee spot in LA, Hilltop Coffee. I think Issa Rae did some joint. There did a bunch of celebrities in LA that pop up just like and do so there. So shout out to this black owned business too. So low key, the community centered approach that he took here matches the energy of the music. The concept is simple once you really step into it. Um, it's this particular stage of a relationship. Again, this series and this thing. So there's like honeymoon. He even says it at the end of the first track. Um, it it it, it runs the track runs out, and he highlights it. He says honeymoon, right? So you think about the different stages of relationship. There's a honeymoon phase, there's a vetting part where you're really starting to kind of see the person who, where it's like the representative starts like releasing the grip of control. You start seeing the real person. Not to say they're good or bad, but you kind of see like the difference, right? You start picking, and then like the reality sets in where it's like, oh, okay, this is who this person is. This is what this person was hiding or not the whole time, and maybe you can't deal with it. And then like you then it goes to the stage of the setting of the relationship, right? Which would be um, uh, the the resentful part, the angry part, what I mean, all of that, the things in you that like feel the angriest about it, right? And so these are the stages of the relationship, right? But this joint sits in the middle of this emotional shift that he is setting the stage for. You can see he relates the whole relationship motif with like how he's making the music. You know, there's cracks in it. There's like certain moments that are like the imperfections are almost like it's almost like when you listen to like vinyl, right? Well, I didn't listen to this on vinyl, but like when you listen to vinyl, the cracks that you kind of hear help endear you to the track that you're listening to. So it's that sort of thing. It's more like where he's showing this concept that he's building here, and this is more show than tell on this whole thing. But the music is great, and even though the themes may go through like some dark moments, you're still like the title says, moving towards love, right? You're moving that way. It's leaning in the direction of love. But this project is making it explicit and asking you to lock in and to actually pay attention to it right now, right? So we could like get into the next stage of what like this relationship may be. Production wise, the project stays focused. Everything feels placed where it's supposed to be. A couple of things do stand out. First of all, the features we got Eric Bellinger, Buddy Kaz, Winnie is on this joint. Each feature brings something different emotionally. Nothing feels thrown in just for to fill space. The sequencing carries throughout. So listen to it from top to bottom. There's a couple of tracks that I would suggest that if you want to get it, if you want to dabble, if you're not familiar with Reason's work, maybe jump into Humbleum, right? Humbleum is dope. This one is a self check. Even this is Reason pulling the mirror closer. The tone is reflective. The cadence is measured, and the writing leans into accountability without losing its edge. It's a great entry point if you want to understand the emotional maturity of this chapter of the series. Doing too much shows up where what is doing too much? Doing too much is the sixth track on this thing. The production is smooth, the writing is sharp. It's warm on the surface, but it cuts deeper the more you sit with it. Like listen to this. I'd rather fly you to Bahamas with no drama in that mode. Have a secret love thing where we never tell a soul. I protect you, you protect me if you let me. We get lost in this moment if you ready. Regretting nothing. We both grown, shorty. I built you up, but not the one to build a home, shorty. I'm trying to protect your feelings most and trying to get you to the peak without getting close. So let me let me in and let my tongue be your favorite rose. Rose is a pleasure toy if you are not familiar. When you listen to this, you probably are. You're old enough. You'll get your treasure at the end like a pot of gold, but let's keep it low. This ain't too personal. Between us, they don't need to know. You already know my vibe. Let's just have a real good time. This ain't too personal. Between us, they don't need to know. So baby, let us see that side. Relax and have a good time. So here we're like, this is the dude that's like, hey, we got a good thing going. This particular song, he's like, we got a good thing going. Let's not fuck up the vibe. Let's not get too deep. Let's just have. Are we having a good time? Let's just have fun and stay in the moment and forget all of these tropes and all of these where we're supposed to be at this particular stage of our relationship and all that kind of stuff. Bro, just chill. I could be flying you out and we could just be like we just having a good time, drinking somewhere off in some island or something like that. And now you're doing too much. Now you're doing too much. Money Cash Holes is a dope one because this is kind of like the parallel to the previous track because in here you have a monologue by who is this monologue? I think that's on this joint. What is it? Money Cash Holes. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. The the whole in particular is Reason himself. So see, it's not problematic like you might think. But the hold on, where's the lyric? Let me pull up the lyrics for this joint. Oh, I ain't got the lyrics here. Okay, no, I was looking up. So I think it's Junie. I think Junie is the artist that says this particular monologue where she flips it on him, and she goes, she says, "You pulling up, you pulling up to family functions, dapping up my cousins and my uncles." That's when I thought it was just us. Uh, and so because she said throughout the whole thing, like, bro, we really could have just been on some friends with benefits type shit. we really could just keep it real, keep it solid on what keep it solid on where we are in terms of this relationship. But like, okay, I thought this is what we're doing, friends with benefits. Now look at you. You acting like you really want to be the one. So I start feeling like, okay, maybe this guy's the one. Right? And then now I'm get catching feelings. Now I'm now we going now we going what do you call it? Like we going out for real, right? So okay, you know what this reminds me of? Fine, I'll do it myself. I'll have to be the one to I don't know what I'm gonna break. It's not breaking it down, but like, okay, so this is what she said. Cheating had me around your whole family playing house. Got cold feet. Holding you down through all your horrible mood swings and treatment towards me during your basketball season. Now you don't know if you can be monogamous? Bitch, I need a real break after this one. Bye, y'all. Okay. I'm sorry, Megan. I'm sorry you're going through that. I mean, Megan has gone through a lot, right? From the Tory situation, you know what I mean? Her parents, she don't really have a family like that, you know. And so she's looking for connection, you know what I mean? And it seems like connection in all the wrong places. With that said, I I don't think I think okay again these parasocial relationships. I don't think what happened like I don't think it all the way went down like that, right? I think that it sounds to me well at least in the terms of way like people are interpreting it, and everybody's going crazy calling Clay a cheater, and he has a history apparently. And you know on the men's side they all busy calling Megan all kinds of names and stuff like that, and calling her and really just degrading her, right? Especially because these people that's already been on the Tory Lane's tip are gonna take a victory lap anytime she's going through something. So I'm not part of that group, but what I'm just saying here is that I think this may have been a situation of miscommunication. I think to me it sounds like what happened according to her words here. Like you don't know that you can be monogamous, so that sounds to me like they had a conversation. Finally, they finally had a conversation about do we want to go together? Do we go together? You know what I mean? Like exclusively kind of thing. And he said something like, "I don't know if I can be monogamous." He said that. I believe that's what he said. When she said she's like, "Do you want to go together?" When she was like, "Okay, what are we doing? We're playing. You know, you're meeting my uncles, like the song says, right? You know, what I'm saying you're meeting my uncles, and you meet my cousins, dapping up my uncles and everything. Again, we were talking about Money Cash Hoes, which is on Reasons Project, uh, and so you know, she was going through all that too with Clay. They had all kinds of Instagrams and posts and all that kind of stuff, all kinds of social media stuff where they around each other, you know, families and stuff. And like, I mean, I think dudes should be doing that sometimes. And like the family may think that like he's always just brought his girlfriends around. He's so it's like um that don't mean you like you just the next one. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if you meet the family that means that much, right? Especially at a big age like he's probably like 30 something. You know, by now I think he's like 30 something, right? And like the family's just used to him bringing another girlfriend around. That's all it is. But for you interpreting it as this is like profound. She's bringing me to meet the family. Like this is like and in the track, you know what I mean? Yeah, he's dapping up your cousins and your uncles because like he's a good dude. He's like makes friends, you know, where he goes, you know what I mean? He's sociable. So, you know, you the one that brought him there. I'm sure he ain't like, oh, why you ain't let me meet your family? You know what I mean? Like, you brought him there to meet, to the cookout, whatnot. He shows up and he's a good guy. And he generally makes friends where he goes and he's dapping people up and stuff. And that don't why y'all gotta have the conversation is what I'm saying. Now, once you have the conversation and somebody still does something that's outside the confines of y'all's agreement, whether y'all was poly or monogamous or whatever y'all situation was, then y'all that's a whole separate conversation. But it's like it seems to me like they just had that conversation. and she's calling it cheating because she's seeing it as like she thought in her mind already that they were exclusive, but he was like, "You just know the shorty I'm dating." You know what I mean? Like, and so like, I go from city to city and I date. I ain't locked down nobody. Like, if you don't got a ring, fiance status at least, um, I haven't been exclusive. This dude's been rich forever, and he's been a star forever, and he's been great in the NBA forever, multiple championships, like like generational wealth already. Yeah, he been had generational wealth. He was born into it, and now he has even more. And so it's like, and it's a bad time, you know. And you know what the thing is like he always, because we don't hear from him too much with a lot of like sideline stuff. We think that he's just like a generally a good guy. At least other men see him as generally a good guy. You know what I mean? He don't have Anthony Edwards problems. You know what I'm saying? You don't got like um Kawhi Leonard problems. Shout out to Pablo Torre with his Pulitzer recently. You know what I mean? Like he's just generally a good guy, right? Um, like even on court, he's not Draymond. You know what I mean? So people see him as a good guy, and so yeah, you thought that was a good guy. You know what I mean? Like this the guy in your head that you had this frame about, and like you thought he could just fit in that frame, but it don't work like that. It just don't work like that. And I hope Megan gets the time. She says she's just gonna need time for herself. She says, you know what I mean. She needs a break, so hopefully she's getting that, and hopefully she gets it in, and like steps into the next phase. Eyes wide open, just eyes wide open, just like from jump. And if you run into another Clay Thompson, your eyes wide open about it. That's who you want to fuck with because you're in that stage where you're like, I don't mind this sort of thing right now. But in order, I don't want you to be in a, I don't want Megan Thee Stallion to have her heart broken again. I don't want her to be in a depressive state. I don't want her to be doubting herself and her worth and her value. She had a whole freaking like Broadway show and everything like that she had going for her, and like she had to cancel, I think, the rest of the shows or whatnot. So that was like a whole nother platform she was about to be on and just do big things. She's mad talented. She's very talented, great personality. And if that's part of what you need with the talent is the personality. You know what I mean? With it. So she's good on camera. She's good on interview. She's good live. I want nothing but the best for Megan. Um, but like there's still some personal growth that's needed, like self worth type growth, and I hope she gets that. I hope she get what she need with that. But pretty much some people was doing too much, which is all to say. That was the name of the track. Eric Bellinger's on that joint. Dope one. Oh well, no, Money Cash Hoes what I'm talking about, but back to back, Money Cash Hoes and doing too much. It encapsulates all of that what I just talked about. Those two tracks, so definitely check those out. Um, the overall vibe of this project is warm. It's reflective. It's constantly moving. It's not overly sad, although it's going through some of those, like some traumatic spots here, like I just freaking pointed out. It's not overly polished. It's just a human experience. It's just a human project. Very real. It feels like someone trying to understand relationships in real time. They're trying to figure it out, just like the rest of us. That's all we're trying to do. We're trying to figure out in real time. We're trying to do the best we can. Like, especially if you have good intentions, you're just trying to do your best. Sometimes you fall short. Sometimes you don't read this person's mind. They want you to read their mind. Sometimes you don't show up as your best self, which is what the representative was doing when you was early on. But that joint get tiring, right? That joint get tired. So it's like I want to be my true authentic self, but at least if you at the same time are trying to also be just a good person, then eventually those two will synchronize, right? And both y'all can show up y'all best selves in this relationship. This album hits the best when you're in one of those stages where it's like, you know what? I'm resetting. I'm building now. I am cleaning out my closet. Shout out to Eminem. Maybe you're journaling. Maybe you're having an unfollow session on social media. I had one of those. I had one of those specifically like monthly when I used to be on Facebook back in the day. I haven't been on Facebook in like 10 years, but when I was on, after having like thousands of like quote unquote friends and followers and whatnot, I I took a monthly like like spring cleaning or something, and it's just like um who is this person? There'll be somebody like an ex, her like roommate, and I was friends with her roommate, and like so it's like I never really have a relationship with you anyways, and like it was the ex, and I don't follow the ex no more. I don't want to know what's going on with you. Go be great. We over. You right? Um, but then like I'm still got friends with like the her roommate. So I'm like no. So I would do that like once a month on Facebook, and like I'll have like a quota of like uh, uh, I'll go through my whole friend list, right? I'll have a quota, and I'll make sure I do like, and I'll go into the profile, and I'll be like, do I keep this relationship? Do I not? You know what I mean? Maybe they might be solid for another whatever. So I do that, um, and maybe get rid of like 50 people, 50 to 100 people. I don't know if I get to 100 up to 100. I probably get up to like 50 people. So this project would be great as the like the song for that. Cleaning out that closet, cleaning out that having a social media cleanse. Maybe you're taking a break from social media. Basically, you're trying to clear your head after things have changed. The music lands harder when you're already thinking about what deserves space in your life, what deserves your time, and things that you may need to like do away with that's no longer serving you. We need to talk about Rosalia, because Lux feels like one of these albums that people will be pointing back to about where music shifted, specifically pop music, where pop music shifted somewhere around the mid 2020s. Quick refresher in case you lost track: two Grammys, 13 Latin Grammys. El Maquerer in 2018 flipped flamenco into something modern cinematic, internet era without stripping the soul out of it. Then Motomami dropped in 2022. This joint was chaotic in the best ways. Self written, self produced, global number one, sold out arenas, critics losing their minds. She's been operating at a level where every release feels like an event. And now Lux lands, and somehow it's even freaking bigger. This is the biggest opening week in her career. Number one's on Spotify, um, global top album charts, massive streaming numbers, chart toppers in Europe and Latin America, over 42 date world tour. We're talking arenas after arenas through 17 different freaking countries. The album moves like a full experience. Quiet moments, huge emotional peaks, then back down into something intimate again. Rosalia recorded Lux in London with the London Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Daniel Jarnison. And thankfully, it's one of these. It feels like prestige orchestra without the pretentiousness. It's not like an artist just trying to sound important, right? It feels intentional. This actually feels like um, you can actually feel the the emotions. You can actually feel the. It's like imagine when you go to a museum and you're like the painter paints something, and then you as a viewer you come by and you see it and you're like you interpret it what you see it, and then you get to talk to the painter and they're like, yo, yeah, that's exactly what I was doing. Oftentimes, like, we don't know why Mona Lisa is smirking. We don't exactly know. We don't know why exactly that farmer had an apple over his face, right? Or we don't know where those stairs were supposed to lead us, or why those clocks were melting. You know, when they were making it, at least. We have some interpretations, and some of them may still be alive to kind of explain it. But like, what were you thinking before you heard their explanation, sort of thing? And it feels like this music is perfectly encapsulating what Rosalia is trying to say here. You can feel it. The strings, the choirs, the dramatic arrangements are everywhere, but they're never overly polished. They're just somehow still pop because she like leans in that genre, but she's reshaping what pop is in real time. It stays emotional and alive at the same time. And the collaborators on here, we have Bjork, we have Camino, Estrella Morenta, Sylvia Perez Cruz. These features add something real. Nothing feels random or algorithmic chasing. The multilingual approach. This thing, she moves between languages so naturally. I thought that maybe she just spoke 13 freaking languages, but no. Yeah, she sings in 13 different languages, this thing, but she relied on Google Translate, which I do a lot on this show because I review international albums like this. Google Translate, and but like she got an extra boost. She was able to like tap into translators to make sure that she was pronouncing words right and getting the translation of what she was actually trying to say to come across in a proper way. So some of it may be like dialects of a particular language. But we're talking Arabic, English, French, German, Hebrew, Italian, Japanese, Latin, Mandarin, Portuguese, Sicilian, and even Ukrainian. And mind you, that's besides her own native tongue, Spanish, right? The bonus tracks on this joint just landed as of April 16th, which is the first version I listened to. When my boy put me on, it was the original version from 2025. But hey, he might be hearing this for the first time. This joint, they just dropped a couple extra tracks. Foku Rani, Novia Robot, and Genie, which is they were originally only available on the vinyl, but now they're getting a wider release on streaming, which they're well deserved. And so it's another chance to tap into the project if you haven't done so already. Okay, so couple of tracks that really stand out you could jump into if you're just trying to get overall vibe of the project. The first one, Sexo Violencia y Llantas. This one is a huge opener. I love having a great opening track introducing you to a project, especially when you're something like this is a concept project, and that you have to set the stage for this sort of thing. And with that said, I also shout out to the album art. Okay, so the project is called Lux, and so in this thing, she is in all white in some sort of like latex covering, and she's like pretty much fully covered. Her hair is still covered in almost a religious sense, like the Catholic nun sort of sense, but it is covered. It's not like a hijab or anything like that, but it's almost like a hijab because she's pretty much covered. Like her face and neck are showing, but it's giving religion, and so this is what this whole project is about. Uh, so sexo Valencia y llantas is so sex, violence, and llantas is like it's debatable on what that is. Is that the tires of a car, or or the rims of a car? I think this one might be sung in Portuguese. So it might you know that might be it might just be car. So like I thought it was originally like sex, drugs, and rock and roll, what she meant by Valencia. You know what I mean? But I get it. It's violence, but like um, I thought maybe drugs could be interpreted as some. I think it's maybe like some sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's what I think. I think it's something to do with sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Um, but that's a great. It's a great opener overall. The production is dope. It's then you have Porcelana is another dope one you could just jump into. This is super controlled. It's delicate. Her voice carries the entire freaking track. Berghain is Berghain is in German. This is just she switched it up again. You'll hear industrial drums, choral layers. There's these cold atmospheric um, notes that you hear throughout this thing. It sounds like a terrible idea on paper, but combining those things, but somehow it works. It all comes together perfectly. If Moto Mami felt restless and unpredictable, Lux feels patient, feels bigger, more intentional. It's the difference between speeding through city streets and standing inside a cathedral after everyone's has left. The vibe is grand, um, but still somehow feels intimate. It's emotional without feeling heavy handed. There's a lot happening sonically, but the album never loses its humanity. It's wonderfully engineered. The production is dope. The overall concept is consistent throughout. Oh, okay. So by the way, the 13 languages. The 13 languages have something to do with. So these are like 13 important um like women in the um is it in the religion, right? Because I mean, some of them aren't even so like each language is tied to a specific story. For example, she brings French for genie, which is inspired by Joan of Arc, and Sicilian. She brings that in for Fokurani, which is inspired by Saint Rosalia of Palermo. These women are all saints and historic figures that inspired each track on this thing. So that's what got her inspired to make this project. The best way to hear this thing for the first time, I'd say, give it your full attention. Put down the phone, play it loud. You got your phone on D&D. This needs your full attention. Um, and the music app that I'm currently using, I just figured out has a translate directly built in when you press the lyrics button on it. You can see the lyrics, you can listen to the music, and you're like reading the lyrics. So like, oh, I'm about to be dangerous now, right? Because I had to like pull those lyrics before and like dump them into translate sometimes line by line to try to figure out exactly what they say. After I hear the music, I like the music. I like how their voice couples with the notes and the decisions that are making within the production. Let me go figure out what they're saying. So I'm like, I guess I'm lyrics second. I'm music first, lyrics second type of person. Um, I guess you know what I haven't thought about that deeply, but I think that's what I am, right? Because I listen to so much different stuff, so much different kinds of stuff. Especially when I listen to a bunch of lo-fi, so there's no lyrics in that. Um, but then like the app that I'm using for music has that feature now, even better. I could tap in even further. This is the type of joint that you don't put the shuffle on. You're gonna want to tap into this artistic statement that Rosalia is making here. She's asking listeners to sit inside the world that she's built for an hour. This thing is just 49 minutes. How long is the deluxe? The deluxe version that just dropped is, yeah, it's an hour. It's not. She just sit there for an hour. The original one is only like 49 minutes, so an extra 10 minutes of music there. And she just, it's a moment to be locked in, and she's locked in, and I think she's earned it. She's earned your attention for at least an hour. You will thank me later. Hit that like and that subscribe. Kehlani has never really fit into one box, and that's always been part of the appeal. Their fifth studio album, Kehlani, dropped on April 24th. This was on B-Day, and they're treating it like it's a reset button. Not a reinvention, more like a return to self. The opening starts off, growth doesn't always sound pretty at first. Sometimes it cracks, sometimes it bends, but it always finds its way to the light. You're about to hear a heart that's been stretched, healed, and reborn. A voice stepping into its truth with no fear, no filter, and no apologies. I am Kehlani. And fans felt that energy immediately. People stood out in the cold rain at the New York pop up, just about a vinyl. There was a meet and greet, and just to be part of the moment. You don't get that kind of love and respect unless the people genuinely connect with you. The timing lined up perfectly. Folded had already pushed into a new lane commercially. Two Grammys, Best R&B Song and Best R&B Performance, and their first Hot 100 top 10 hit. Kehlani carried that momentum straight into this project. Bruh, Folded has damn near has over 300 million people. That's everybody in America. Population wise, everybody in America has, well, not specifically, but like globally, you know what I mean, have listened to this album. Um, the momentum carried her straight to number one on the debut, released number one the R&B and hip hop album charts. This is the first time in her career that they hit the top spot, and the guest list that appears on this, we have Leon Thomas. From the jump, you got you got Lil Wayne, Brandy, Clips, Big Sean, Leon Thomas, Missy Elliott, bro. Like everybody shows up for this thing, and that's a wave that I sometimes gauge to even give an album my first listen. Oh, maybe an artist that like I've been keeping up with, or maybe it's an artist that like had a good rollout and got my attention. Like, oh, maybe I don't know this rollout, this artist, or maybe I might pick up on it on some like news, social media, or mainstream, and then I listen to the album. But like one of the things on top of all of that is I want to know who fucks with you. Are any artists that I like, that I'm tapped into, that I respect, that I love their work, their body of work, are getting you to feature on their stuff, or they're or featuring on your stuff? That's a cosign. That's a whole cosign. That's like I endorse this person. I will lend my voice, my credibility, my my whatever kind of points that I may be, what I mean, be able to muster in this thing of ours. I'm going to lend my voice to that, and so I'm endorsing this endorsement of this person. So you got a roster like that featuring on this thing. Usher is on here, Lil Jon, bro. Like Cardi B, that's like old school and new school. Everybody is rogering up to be like, we fucks with Kehlani. Kehlani knows what they doing. That's what's up. Keeping the traditional R&B alive while still tapping into the contemporary stuff. Chris Riddick is on here. Executive producer on here. Babyface, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and of course Jermaine Dupri is written all in the mix. Right, you can hear the intention in immediately when you jump into this thing. That's a classic R&B structure with modern emotion still throughout, and it's fully encapsulated in its own personality, and it's human, it's real, it's traditional in a sense, but it's like brand spanking new. A few tracks that would definitely stand out. Another level. This is the first feature on here, Lil Wayne. On here, it's an unexpected pairing at the time, but then you think about how like Lil Wayne had like a lot of like R&B features where he would go put a spit a verse, right? He had a lot of that earlier on in his career, especially during like the Carter 3 run around that era. So this is kind of like true to form for Wayne, right? The two click on this thing. This is people trying to explain why certain connections never fully leave you alone. Back and forth with Missy is a smooth, playful, rhythmic, heavy. It's giving Aaliyah, right? For those of you too young, that wasn't born in the 1900s. I mean, she was our like our she was like a little like our Taylor Swift. She was our Taylor Swift at the time to be, right? Or at least like, what I mean, the way Biggie was for hip hop, she was that for R&B, right? And she tragically died in an accident, and so she never really got to fully flourish into what she could potentially have become. This is why I say kind of like hip hop Biggie. With Biggie, it's like, man, who would he have been? Like the thing with Tupac is that like he had a huge body of work before he passed. He was capable of great things going forward, and I would love to have seen where his music would have taken him. But he had a long body of work, whereas Biggie didn't. He didn't have a chance to really flourish, and so this is sort of the same thing with Aaliyah, and she could have been like that. Maybe even had a career. She could have been like Beyonce before Beyonce, right? So it didn't happen. But hearing Kehlani in this lane is a very, and then paired with Missy Elliott too. It's it's like a kindred spirits almost, right? It's like You could feel like Aaliyah's spirit like hovering over this project. Folded, of course, needs no introduction. This is the centerpiece of the whole era. It's emotional without slipping into melodrama. The big chorus, it's been doing numbers everywhere. There's real vulnerability in this thing. It's the kind of record that naturally opened the door for wider mainstream attention. I have to say that when I first heard the lyrics to Folded, I didn't fully I didn't fully appreciate what was being what she was really saying on here. Uh like you think about this part right here. Where she goes from the jump. It's so silly to me to act like I don't need you bad, and I kind of skipped that. I skipped that part in my head. I don't know why. It's so early on. I skipped that part. When all I can think about is us being seen, is us since I seen you last. This is somebody who's nostalgic. This is somebody who is like, you know, kind of like sighing and like remembering these times and maybe regretful even. I did not pick up on this when I first listened. It took multiple listens. I know I didn't have to walk away. Oh, she says it explicitly. I walked away. This is the Megan and Clay Thompson thing all over again. Like, is this track the future self of Megan Thee Stallion? Where she's like, no, he wasn't cheating on me, but we didn't have that discussion about monogamy. And when we got there, it went sideways. And I kind of gave up on our whole potential connection. She put him on blast on the social medias and everything. I don't know if there's any coming back from that. It could have been like Clay had an understanding. He thought he had an understanding of what y'all was doing, and he thought you had the same understanding. Then you had a conversation. It turns out, oh, it was the other way, right? Um, and then in the future, maybe you think about it a while, and it's like, I didn't want to completely just like burn that bridge. This is what she's talking about here. It's so silly to me to act like I don't need you bad when all I can think about is us since I seen you last. I know I don't have to walk away. All I had to do was ask for space. I'm telling you, be on your way when I told you to fall back. So can you come pick up your clothes? I have them folded. Meet me at the door while it's still open. Eh? Eh? I know it's getting cold out, but it's not frozen. So come pick up your clothes. I have them folded. It makes perfect sense now that I listened to that very first verse. Well, it's like, I know, you know what? I should have just said I needed some space. I needed some time to understand what we was doing, what to understand, and then let me think about it and see if that's where I'm trying to be at. And it sounds like Kehlani in this track here is like, you know what? Your clothes I ain't throw them out on the lawn. I ain't burn them on something like, and I ain't throw them in the fireplace, in a fire pit or something like that out back. She had them folded. Probably even washed them. Nice and neat. The situation ain't frozen yet. The door is still open. She's saying there. So, like, let's talk. I have some perspective now. So, maybe Megan just needs some perspective. I'm not saying Clay's the one. And he may not even, I don't know if he's in that space himself. But, I don't know. I kind of like seeing them together. That's just me. I hope things work out for them two specifically. And maybe she has a Kehlani moment where she, because it's gonna be up to her. It's always up to the woman, right? Where she can say, you know what? I decide that I'm okay with the situation as it is currently, and we have a conversation about monogamy and growing there. And we grow to that space, and then you grow to that space, and then maybe you get what you want. At the end of the day, everybody gets what they want. He just needed some time maybe to run around a little bit, and you were okay with not being exclusive. Maybe you might show up on the red carpet with somebody else for a couple of years or something like that, and then y'all find your way back to each other. It's happened. I have friends who, over 10 years apart, and then they got back together. Now they're married happily, and it just they had to just They needed some space. So shout out to Kehlani for having a track like this that's very, um, you know, gives us an insight. You know, what I mean, that it gives us a moment to stop and think about these things that we know, but we need artists like Kehlani to like put this in like stark terms for us to really grapple with it in real time and be like, let me have this time with myself to actually like figure out what exactly I want to do. This album feels grounded. It in a way, a lot of it is a healing album, but it's not trying to do too much, and it's never quite out of reach for people that may not be completely in that zone. But Kehlani, she sounds settled herself, um, and Kehlani identifies as they them, and I'm trying to get it. I got it here and there. I don't always get it, but in terms of like on my in my speaking, but I respect your identity, and Kehlani's identity as she shows up in the world. It's just born in the 1900s, still working on it. Right? Give me that. Right. Plus I have wine. The themes are all there: love, growth, heartbreak, boundaries, transformation. Um, but none of it feels overdone or overly theatric. Best way I say to play this project is maybe midday, windows wide open, break out the Uno cards, get your girls over, and y'all just hanging, having some mimosas, whatever. Y'all just chilling, playing some games. The production stays warm and welcoming the entire time. It'll help you with the vibe, help you with the atmosphere. With all the different voices in there, it's almost like having the radio on a little bit, and all your favorite tracks is coming on back to back to back. This project is how many tracks you got on here? We have 17 tracks. It's only 59 minutes. It's an hour. It's an hour well spent with community. Bottom line, Kehlani, the album, feels less like a comeback and more like clarity. While personally, Crash is still my favorite project. They sound comfortable with where they are right now in their career, and that confidence carries through the whole record. I ain't mad at it because this is another great addition to the catalog. 5 years without an album, and somehow Isaiah Rashad only grew larger in people's imaginations while he was gone. Dude is getting the Frank Ocean treatment, that leeway, but he earns it. His new project, It's Been Awful, isn't just a comeback, it plays like an exhale. 16 tracks of reflection, recovery, frustration, the slow, messy work um, that you're figuring yourself out in public without turning it all into a freaking spectacle. It almost turned that way for him in 2022, but he's worked his way past that. And even the rollout is on that same sort of vibe, that sort of energy. Handwritten cards to mail to fans, a quiet, haunting trailer that was released, Rashad limping through an empty field. Everything moved slowly. It was intentional, but just enough to pull people closer and build up that anticipation. So here's the shift: the wider culture seems to just be catching up to what longtime fans um, have known, and that Zay moves different. He is like a more, I don't know if it was more, but like, because the person I'm thinking of is Danny Brown, right? And I would say, and so I would, okay, he is a more palatable entry point into hip hop than Danny Brown may be, or like maybe Danny Brown is a little bit more crossover, right? Because I mean, Danny Brown is doing a lot of experimental stuff, and for this project, there's not a lot of experimental stuff that's going on, um, but it is a very much melodic rap sort of project. So there's this genre bending, all right, uh, and Isaiah Rashad is really exemplifying what it's like to live in that sort of theme. You think about tracks like Act Normal or even Boy in Red. Um, there's a track with featuring SZA, which is very much like like a Luther, like his version of Luther on here. I mean, because SZA on there, anything SZA's on, you're gonna want to like check in on that, right? But it was a packed LA release show that he performed. It feels like Rashad is stepping back into his full life into on his terms. Shout out to TDE for allowing him to show up as his authentic self. He's talked about being gender. Uh, well, I don't know if it's not gender fluid. It's bisexual, I believe. Maybe it's bisexual. And um, I mean, a gangster adjacent label like TDE, adjacent, allegedly. Um, it's kind of woke of them to be able to accept somebody like Isaiah Rashad in their ranks, and to prompt and to give them the full endorsement, full support of the whole team, and allow them the creative freedom and everything like that, to put this work out. It's bluesy at times. There's these guitars in here. It's some psychedelic textures, heavy bass, loose drums, all wrapped around Rashad's worn-in delivery. You can hear echoes of Stankonia in this thing, The Love Below, even a little Prince, but it never feels retro. Producers like Pluto and Bunna B keep it modern without polishing away the grit. A few things to stand out immediately when I'm listening to this. It's a small feature list, just enough voices to add color. What did I say? So we have Julian Sintonia, we have the SZA track, and who Dominique fight. There's not a lot of other voices other than Zay's on here. Um, there's a strong visual direction. Omar Jones treated the rollout like a film universe. The themes are right there: relapse, identity, loneliness, rebuilding. Check out Same Shit. It's a dope track. This is the third one on the project. It sets the emotional temperature early. Family pressure. We're talking survival mode, exhaustion. If someone is new to Rashad, this is the clearest entry point. Boy in Red shows up. Where does that show? Boy in Red. Yeah, sure. Yeah, right after that, back to back. It's back to back. That's the SZA track. This is the emotional center of the album. It's soft. It's intimate. Um, then there's that quiet, disarming line. Maybe stay the night. Then I could be your boyfriend. If that don't work, then I'll just be your girlfriend. I saw him in the interview. He was saying how like so this is kind of like why sometimes it throws me off with the whole gender fluidity versus the bisexual kind of thing when says things like this. Um, um, but he's basically trying to say like he's saying he's just seeing the situation from both perspectives. So shout out to that. You know what I mean? Having empathy. It's an empathetic line. What makes it powerful, this whole thing, is that it's how casual like the line is delivered. It captures the album's bigger idea when it comes to identity and intimacy, and how they don't always just like fit in some like these neat categories. Rashad sounds more at peace sitting in this space of uncertainty, where some of us might be like he might be like a duck, right? Like under the surface, just paddling like crazy, keeping himself above water. But then above the surface, he looks calm and just like tranquil and just like chilling. Like much of the album, this thing doesn't end with answers. That particular track doesn't end with answers. Just a moment of someone trying to fully be seen while still figuring things out themselves. Cameras is another dope track that shows up 11th. Like it's an 11th track on here. This is dreamy. This is melodic, easy to play. It's got a blurry sort of 2 a.m. feeling where it feels like something is distant and but close at the same time. Like you're almost getting clarity, but it keeps being a little bit fuzzy. Overall, the vibe is mature, a little bit messy. It's reflective. Um, Low key, it's hopeful. There's a theme of like superpowers and like growth that's happening throughout. Like there's a track literally called Superpowers. There's another one called Ain't Giving Up. Just like fighting through it. nothing to hide. You talking about like um, the hidden identity of superheroes, what do you call it? Not the alternative identity. What do you call that thing? The the alias. I don't remember exactly. Clark Kent to Superman kind of thing. So, um, he sounds like someone that's documenting the fallout of a hard few years and and still becoming, right? He's still becoming and he's still learning how to live inside this new paradigm, this new aftermath. It's been awful. Is Shout out to people who honestly who answered that. The question when you ask like, "Hey, how you doing?" and and I haven't had someone say to me, "It's been awful," but every once in a while, I'll have somebody say to me the honest answer. Oh, I'm good. In Haitian parlance, we say, "Ça passe na boule," right? And so that's just everybody just oh, what's happening? Oh, I'm good. Basically, na boule. We thriving, we burning, we cooking, right? Um, we firing it up, right? Like NBA Jam. He's on fire, right? Whatever. So it's kind of like saying like, I'm good. And that's just such a natural response for us, not just to say when sometimes we don't be good. Sometimes we not all right. Sometimes um, it's been awful, right? And shout out to those people that's going through it and they got to the point where they're no longer just like playing along anymore. They're just being honest with themselves and they're reaching out. When they say that somebody shares that with you, they have done a lot of thinking before they figured out that you are someone they can trust with this. Because it's come about multiple times, even before y'all had this encounter. Hey, how you doing? And they just say I'm fine. They say I'm fine because this person isn't somebody that I can unload my burdens to. This ain't somebody that's gonna be a shoulder to cry on. This ain't somebody that's gonna give me sage advice, or this ain't somebody that's going to, um, carry the burden with me. So they say, "Nah, I'm fine." That's what that is. If somebody approaches you, you ask them how they doing, and you don't even have to really be that. It should be wild the relationships that it could be, and they say you say how you doing. They say and they open up to you. You could be a manager, and they're your subordinate, but they're like you've built a rapport with them where they trust you, and they feel like you have their best interest in mind, and that you're a good person. They'll open up to you and say, "It's been awful. It's legit been awful. Here's what I'm going through. Here's what my past few months have been like. My past few weeks have been like." Bottom line, it's been awful is personal without self pity. It's ambitious without feeling overworked. Honest in a way a lot of albums avoid. In a world built for a clips and quick reaction, Isaiah Rashad made a project that actually wants you to sit with it, to live with it for a while. Because who knows when we'll get the next project. Fally Ipupa is a legend. 20 years in, the Congolese superstar just dropped XX, a 20-track project celebrating 2 decades of influence, reinvention, and staying power in a music industry that burns through artists fast. And he's not stopping there. This is only part one. XX Delirium arrives in June, turning the rollout into a full career celebration. The setup around this release feels massive on purpose. XX landed on April 17th through Warner Music France and features names all over the map like Wiz Kid, Angelique Kidjo, Joey Duet Filet shows up, Haitian artist there, and more. Then you add 2 nights at Stade de France. I could put a clip of that here. That happened last week. Close to 80,000 people showed up each night. That's bigger than hype. That's legacy territory. What XX really makes clear is that Folly isn't operating inside one lane anymore. He's becoming one of these key architects of the modern African pop era, blending rumba, Afro beats, amapiano, and R&B. He's blending it all into something rooted in Congo while reaching far beyond it. The production on XX feels smooth, it's warm, it's global without ever sounding watered down. Producers like Trezor Riziki, Danny Synth, um, Say does some work on here. They keep the album moving with sound that slide between dance floor, cookouts, late night headphones without losing its center. A few standout tracks for sure to jump in right away. Uh, Jam, Wizkid this is an easy one to slide into. There's a video for it as well. Clean looking video. They're out in the like a desert sort of type of situation. The lighting is beautiful. Just dancing and having a good time there. Petit Care is the sixth track on here. There's a Fally keeps it vulnerable here without overdoing it, and that balance is what makes the song land. Alifa is the 13th one on this project, featuring DJ Mafarisa. Heavy in my piano energy on this thing. Percussion driven, it's rhythmic, a clear checkpoint for where Fali's modern club sound is headed. Uh, Loin des Yeux, featuring Selema, is this is a slow burning melodic track, a reminder that simplicity still works when the songwriting is strong, and through it all, the Congolese guitar influence keeps the album just grounded. Even when the production leans into my piano or polished R&B territory, you never lose track of who this album is for and is from. XX feels like an artist celebrating the past without getting stuck in it. There's confidence all over this project. Fali sounds like someone who knows exactly what he's built, and still believes there's another level yet to be reached. The album moves between rumba, my piano, Afro beats, and some smoother ballads, um, but it does it always smooth and real ease, which is harder to do than some artists like Fally Ipupa makes it seem. It's like it looks easy, right? But it's a lot harder than it looks, right? Best listening environment for this sort of thing. To put this on, it just feels naturally like a gathering. This album feels like community. You're bringing all the different um, diaspora together, all the different sounds together. You're blending it all in. It's this would be great for like a late afternoon. Maybe you got something on the stove. It's not necessarily a cookout. We just have a couple of friends coming over. Kids are running around in the background. Um, it's you're not dressing up or nothing. You got your house clothes on. You're playing, and this music sort of just like floats from room to room. XX has that kind of energy. It's welcoming. It's steady. It's lived in. Please save me a plate. I'm for your boy. I'll stop by. XX isn't just a celebration of Ipupa's career. Um, it's a reminder that African pop music is not just a future, but we're sort of living the future right now of this renaissance of Afropop. And for Fali's career to have spanned such a time period, uh, generations even, uh, and to be contributing to the new sound as well. That's just it's almost like Pharrell on these, or Jermaine Dupri, like you said with the Kehlani joint, to be able to transcend um, decades of styles. This is an artist who is just evolving before our very eyes without losing where he came from.
It's challenge day.